Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Jane Stevens, and today we're going to be talking about business planning. I cannot believe it is already December. We've had a crazy year this year. I remember talking about business planning 2020 at the end of last year. And of course, a lot of us had to throw away that business plan, pivot, make some major changes. So this year, when we're looking back on what we did this year, don't be too hard on yourselves. It was a crazy year. Hopefully you were still able to achieve the goals you reset for yourself. I remember doing another webinar where we did reset our business plan for the last 2 quarters of 2020. So here we are now talking about next year, and hopefully it will be a lot easier, a lot better. So let's talk about what we need to do in order to plan for next year. And it does involve looking back. So again, don't be hard on yourself. If this year wasn't what you expected it to be, it wasn't what any of us expected it to be. So let's get started. So as I said, we are going to take a look back. It's so important to look back because we need to figure out what we did and what worked, what didn't work. Again, this year was crazy. A lot of things were thrown at us, but also a lot of opportunities. A lot of things I think that people found that really worked well were virtual consultations, which was probably something we weren't doing initially, especially with buyers. When they call, we get excited, we go out, we show them properties, hoping that they're going to work with us. But maybe we took that extra step this year to implement some virtual consultations and really explain the process. I know that we've done webinars before on buyer presentations. Lots of us have a presentation for listings, but not so much for buyers. So maybe that was something that you implemented, something that you were able to do virtually. So you had a consultation with people before taking them out on showings and really understanding what it was that they were looking for, and then explaining the process to them. And really taking that extra step resulted in, I think, a lot more loyalty from those online leads, from those buyers who were initially just calling for information. If you took the time to do those virtual consultations, it did result in increased loyalty. At least that's what I found. At least that's what I've heard from others. So if you didn't implement that this year, maybe that's something to think about going forward. Because also we need to think about what is it that you want from 2021. And it doesn't necessarily need to be income, but most of the time it is. So we'll talk about that and we'll break it down into what does that mean? How many appointments do you need to make? What does that mean in terms of how many phone calls you need to make? So what's it going to take? We're going to talk about that. And of course, why? We always talk about why do you want it? What's your why? And really thinking about that, taking the last little bit of 2020 to think about, what motivates you? Why is it that you want to achieve these income goals, if that's what you've set for yourself? So really taking some time to reflect on that so that when January hits, we are ready to get to work. We hit the ground running. There's no pause. It's just all work. So let's get to it. Let's jump in a little bit here in terms of what did you do? So what questions should you ask yourself when you're looking back on 2020? All right, so let me just admit a few more people who are joining us. Sorry, 1 second here. All right, so let's just pull up all these questions that you can ask yourself when trying to look back on 2020 to determine what it is that you did. So how many closed sales did you do in 2020? What's your sales volume? So that's a good number to know. What did you sell? How much was the average cost of the properties that you sold this year? What was your gross commission income? Sorry, still admitting some people here. And then how many buyers did you work with versus how many consultations you went on? And then of course, how many listings did you take and how many consultations did it take for you to achieve those listings? So really knowing your numbers, this is something that is so important. Every other business really tracks this well for the most part, but sometimes I feel we're realtors, we're working on our own, and sometimes we don't really look at the numbers. We don't take time to analyze that. We're, again, running out, we're doing showings, we're trying to get the deals done, but really this is a good time to look back and really look at your numbers so you know where your strengths lie and what you may need to improve on. So taking a look back on 2020 and trying to figure out what it is that you did so that hopefully you can duplicate that and see whatever shortfalls you may have had so that you can improve on that and move forward in 2021, improving your business. So there's a little bit of a slide here that you might just want to use and to think about. So how many listings did you have in 2020? How many properties did you list? And of those, how many sold? So again, knowing what your sale ratio is, right? So if you had 3 listings and all 3 sold, that's great. But if you had 3 listings and maybe 1 or 2 of those sold, what happened with the other ones? Were they listed too high? Did you have a seller who was, had unrealistic expectations? Are you going to take on a client like that in 2021 if they have unrealistic expectations? They're not listening to you about the market value of their home. How much money did you invest in that listing? So really analyzing, again, what you did in 2020, what your strengths were there, and what might have been some shortfalls. And then also taking a look at what your top 3 sources of listings were. So you might want to take a look and, think about the listings that you had at the beginning of the year versus maybe now. Are those coming from personal sources? Is this a networking group that you're a part of that has resulted in some listings? Did it all come from Zolo? Were you taking buyers out on showings and having conversations with them and determining, sort of halfway through the showings that they do actually have a property to list? So how did this come to you? How did this business come to you? So really taking a look at that. And again, trying to figure out what worked and what you might improve on. So if they all resulted from conversations with buyers that you got from Zolo, then that's amazing. That means that you are having those conversations, you're asking the right questions, and you're creating a rapport with buyers that they not only trust you for showing them properties and putting in offers on properties to buy, but they're also interested in listing with you. So that's great. And then maybe determining if, yes, all of your listings came from Zolo leads, then what else can you do outside of the Zolo system to generate more listings in 2021? So really sitting down and reflecting and thinking about where your listings came from. And feel free to chat with me as we're going through this. If you guys have different sources that have been really great for you in terms of getting listings, I always love to hear from you guys. And I can share that with the group, especially if you have something that is maybe a little bit unique, like a networking group that you're a part of or something that you want to share. Definitely chat with me. All right. So buyers. So again, taking a look at all of your transactions from the past year and figuring out how many buyers you worked with. And out of those, how many bought. That is a really good metric to know. And so maybe not all of us have a CRM yet. Hopefully you guys do. Hopefully you evolve into getting a CRM for your business. But if not, a little trick here that you might want to do is if you have entered every single showing in your calendar, you may want to go into your calendar and just search showing. And then hopefully all of that, will come up in your calendar and you'll be able to see exactly how many showings you went on. It's probably not a metric that you've been keeping track of, but there is sort of that creative way to find out, okay, how many showings did I go on? I know for myself, when I enter showings into my calendar, I call it a showing. I put in the client's name, and then usually in brackets, I put, the lockbox code or whatever it is. So if I were to search in my calendar, showings, that would give me an entire list of every single showing appointment I went on, and it would have the buyer's name. So hopefully you guys have something like that as well. Just again, so that you can take a look at that list and see, wow, okay, I went on 125 showings this year. And then you can take a look also, hopefully you can sort it alphabetically and see how many buyers you were working with, right? So they may be leases. If that's the case, you can also take a look at that and see maybe how many of those leases turned into buyers. So yeah, just taking a look at your calendar and hopefully, doing a bit of digging so you can really figure out what you did in 2021 so that you can duplicate that and improve that for 2021. So your buyer to sales ratio. So this is, again, a good number to know, similar to the last slide. So how many buyers did you take out on showings and how many of those actually bought with you? So again, a really great number to know, because if that percentage is low, then maybe there's something that you need to do while you're out on that showing. Again, I talked about at the beginning, a lot of us implemented the buyer consultation, a virtual sort of meeting before you actually went out on showings. I found that, the feedback from realtors who did that, it did increase the buyer's loyalty. So they didn't just use you for a couple of showings and then on to the next realtor. So maybe if that's something that you implemented, maybe that increased your numbers. And if it's not something that you did, maybe that's something to consider doing in 2021 to increase that ratio. So trying to figure out if you are able to determine how many showings you went on and how many of those actually turned into buyers. If that percentage is low, getting creative about how to maybe increase that percentage. Reaching out to your growth manager for some ideas as well. But then definitely figuring out what the top 3 sources were for your buyer ends. So hopefully it'll probably be Zolo, but if you did have quite a few personal leads, again, just figuring out what it is that you're doing right in that aspect. And yeah, if they are all Zolo leads, again, just trying to think outside the box a little bit in terms of how you might want to generate some more buyers for yourself in 2021. So yeah, just taking a look back on 2020 and seeing where all of your buyers came from. It's an interesting exercise to do. But these are all good things to know. And then taking a look at sellers versus buyers. So were you predominantly a listing agent in 2020, or did you mostly work with buyers? How many ends did you do in total? So how many transactions altogether? And then really knowing your business, really knowing the numbers in your business. So sellers accounted for what percentage of your business? 10%, 20%, 50%. And buyers, what's the percentage of your buying side business? How many buyers do you work with typically in your business? Maybe it's 100%. So maybe there's an opportunity there to increase how you market yourself as a listing agent, right? If that's, one of your goals for 2021. So yeah, definitely knowing your business, knowing your numbers, and knowing right now what percentage you're at in terms of how many sellers you've worked with versus how many buyers. So again, just really interesting exercises to look at the end of the year, at the end of every year. And then, of course, what worked before COVID, what worked during COVID, and then what didn't work. So I've already talked about that virtual consultation. I'll probably mention it a few more times because it was a really great opportunity that came up for a lot of us. Again, I know agents who have incorporated it and, found great success, and also not just success with these virtual consultations, but a lot of time saved. So instead of running around and meeting different clients for showings and not really understanding fully what they're looking for, this was able to, determine who was really ready and who wasn't. So it took a little bit of time, but it was a virtual showing instead of having to drive out and meet somebody, at their property or at a showing. You're able to kind of have that conversation beforehand. So the buyer presentation is something that we talked about, I think, last month. So if you guys are interested in that, it should be in the workplace channel as well as on the GM's YouTube channel. All right. So evaluating your efforts. So how often did you actively search for new business prospects? Hopefully you are logging into your Zolo CRM every single day without fail. But what else did you do outside of that to search for new business? And what were those activities? What did you do? Did you create postcards? Did you send out flyers? Did you do any sort of direct mail? Did you maybe create a social media page? What about a Facebook fan page? I always recommend doing a Facebook business page because it's free and I like to recommend free things. So is that something that you did? Maybe, when you do get a sale, you can promote your Facebook business page with an ad. It does cost money, but Facebook can be pretty reasonable. You can set your own budget. You can set it to, $5 a day for 20 days, whatever it is that you want to do. So if you've had a closing, maybe that's where you want to invest a little bit of marketing dollars. So what prospecting activities did you do and what worked? So again, feel free to chime in and let me know if there was anything outside of the Zolo system that you did in order to generate new business. And what did you spend the most money on? What was your biggest advertising or marketing item? Again, direct mail I find tends to be the priciest, but social media, as I said, you can start with those free platforms. And then if you do want to put a little bit of money into that, you can create those Facebook ads, Instagram as well, whatever it is that you're on or you're using. So, taking a look at what you did in the past, maybe you did it in January, February, and you forgot about that. And so now it's a good reminder, what, that worked. I'm going to keep doing that, and have that as part of your business plan for 2021. So again, I'd love to hear from you guys just to know what worked for you in terms of advertising outside of the Zolo system, prospecting for new business. And I'm going to give you some ideas here. I'm not going to go over all of them, but there's lots of ways that you can promote yourself. So yes, you can target people like you. That's probably easiest done through social media, right? So if you do have a Facebook business page, maybe you're sharing that content on your personal profile page as well, so that your friends can see, oh yeah, that's right, she's in real estate, or yeah, that's right, he got licensed not too long ago. So just remind people that this is what you do. You might want to specialize. So you might want to specialize in first-time home buyers. Again, so creating a targeted ad that reaches out to first-time home buyers, maybe people who are, maybe condos. Maybe that's something that you want to focus on, especially if you're in the downtown core. There's an opportunity there. You can concentrate on a specific professional group. So maybe your previous work experience was in a completely different industry than real estate. I know actually I've met quite a few firefighters who are also realtors, and that's pretty much where they get so much of their business, right? From other fellow firefighters, and of course they're involved in their community. So that's an example of reaching out to your network, whether or not you're still working in that field or not. Picking a professional group. You might want to focus on specific markets. So yeah, you can farm an area. So if you're living in, a nice pocket, you can concentrate on your neighborhood, the people who are around you. You can go for walks and drop off letters. That's direct mail, but it's the inexpensive version because you're doing it yourself and not through Canada Post. So there's a bunch of different things that you can do. Creating a catchy slogan, putting your picture on everything. I'm not sure if you guys saw that billboard that was recently up in Toronto, and it was a young realtor who had a caption on there with some emoticons. If you know what I'm talking about, chime in. But it kind of went viral. I think he had really famous people follow him as a result of that. So, if you want to do something a little bit outside of the box, that is definitely something that, caused that particular agent to get a lot of attention. So, but that was a billboard that costs a lot of money. So let's talk about things that you can do that don't cost a lot of money. And some of these ideas here include creating a mailing list. So I definitely recommend every single time you get a lead in your Zolo CRM, you want to be saving that email address, especially the people who you've actually spoken with. Definitely make sure that you're recording their name, their phone number, their email address in some sort of an Excel spreadsheet. Again, there's the free suggestion, or a CRM that maybe might send them drip campaigns and that sort of thing to, again, for you to stay top of mind with those leads. But definitely have their emails saved somewhere so you can send out a weekly newsletter. That would be a lot of work, but a monthly newsletter. So creating mailing lists, using the Zolo system, right? This is building your book of business. So have those emails recorded somewhere so that you can reach out to them at least on a monthly basis so that they're reminded of you and that you're in real estate. So when the time comes for them to buy real estate, hopefully they'll think of you. Pop buys. If you have been in the industry for any amount of time, you've probably heard of that expression, pop buys, which is just another way of saying, drop off. So they're really popular seasonally. So for example, I know lots of realtors might drop off, pumpkin pies at, Halloween or Thanksgiving. Pumpkins on Halloween is probably more the thing. What else do? They do poinsettias at Christmas and, barbecue utensils over the summer. And they usually have like a little catchy phrase, their business card attached to it. So, you can have all kinds of, fun ideas like that. And that's relatively inexpensive, depending on, of course, on the pop buy, the gift that you've selected. But if you're looking for ideas like that, just Google on Pinterest. I know there's a whole bunch of suggestions for pop buys with those, little catchy phrases that you might want to attach with your business card, your contact information, and you would be delivering these to past clients. So that would really help you build a referral business. Because again, if you're looking back on what happened in 2020, did most of your business come from new online leads? Did you get any referrals? Are you asking for referrals? So, definitely incorporating that as well. So doing an end of year letter. So how timely is that right now? We're in December, maybe sending a letter to all of your clients. Again, maybe it's an email newsletter, maybe something personal about, what happened this year and, looking forward to next year. And again, just staying top of mind. So writing some sort of year-end letter. There's all sorts of other ideas here, sending out anniversary cards. So if you do have a CRM, hopefully that will remind you of their annual move-in date. So that might be a nice anniversary card to send out. So again, I said I wasn't going to do all of these, but I'll just end it with the buyer presentation, because again, I did mention that it is a good tool to promote yourself, to generate business, and to really create that loyalty, as I said. So we all have listing presentations, hoping for that seller to call us or hoping for that selling opportunity, but definitely implement a buyer presentation, because here at Zolo, we do get a lot of buyers inquiring. And so you really want to set yourself apart. How are you going to do that? Send them a a PDF, maybe it's, a nice fancy PDF that you've created with your logo and a little bit about you, a little bit about your experience, so that, again, they feel like they already know you a bit. And yeah, letting them know what the process is so they feel they can trust you because you know what you're talking about. So definitely, implement a buyer presentation if you don't already have one. And doing those virtual consultations, that's definitely a way to promote yourself when those leads come in. All right, what do you want? So we're talking about, all of it, all of 2020. What do you want moving forward? So how much money do you want to make at the end of this year? Don't forget, we're still in 2020. There's still some time to go. If you're short of your goals for 2020, think about what you might be able to do this month, but then definitely looking ahead and, focusing on what it is that you want to do for 2021. So, and having some sort of affirmation that you say to yourself every day. I know some people believe in this and I think it works. I've been told it works. I'm in the process of attracting X amount of money, and everything I do creates that perfect end result. Whatever sort of, daily reminder you want to set for yourself, having that mantra that you say to yourself every day. And then also I'm going to recommend a one-page business plan that you also have right in front of you, something that you can look at that reminds you every single day of what it is that you're working towards. Why are you sending this email? Why are you picking up the phone, right? You want to have something that really is a clear reminder of why you're doing the things you're doing. So I believe the next slide here is what it's going to take. And I'm going to show you a spreadsheet that you guys can use, which calculates all of this for you. So it's something that you guys have access to, and I'll talk about that in a second. But what's it going to take? So how many closings do you need to achieve your goal? So again, if you know where you want to go and you know that you're not quite there, there's a little bit of a gap, reach out to your growth manager, talk to them about setting up some accountability calls, maybe a couple times a month, once a month, whatever it is, to get you closer to those goals. Really having, or even, an accountability partner. Reach out to somebody here at Zolo, a colleague who also has the same goals as you, and just reach out to one another and just make sure that you are on top of your goals. You're making those calls every day. You're sending out those email newsletters every month. Whatever it is that you've set for yourself, make sure that you have somebody that is going to hold you accountable, right? Because we forgive ourselves too easily, but we're often, if we have an accountability partner, that often, reminds us, oh gosh, I need to have something to say to this person at the end of the week. And so I've got to do these things. So whatever works for you, have, if it's not your growth manager, an accountability partner to make sure that you're really doing what you need to do. And then calculating, of course, kind of, reverse engineering what it is that you need to do. So if your goal is, for example, to do 100,000 and your average commission is going to be 10, this is obviously very easy math, then you need to do 10 transactions, right? And if you're at 6, what is it going to take to get to 8? What is it going to take to get to 10? And what is it going to take to surpass that goal? So how many showings do you need to go on to generate those 10 closed transactions? So really thinking about that. And again, we do have a system in place here, which I'll show you in a second. So it's an Excel spreadsheet, which I'll share with you, because really all you have to do is type in your yearly goal, your income goal, and then it will also, if you enter in the average commission, it will also calculate how many showings you have to go on. So I'll show that to you in a minute. But yeah, so if you do have these income goals, you want to reverse engineer how you're going to get there. So first of all, you need to know what the average sale price is in your particular area, and then figure out what the average commission is going to be from that average price, and then what your net commission is going to be. So I have some sample numbers up here. I don't know if this is correct anymore. It's probably higher than 800,000. But again, just for easy math, if that's the average sale price, then the average commission is going to be 20,000. Assuming you're getting 2.5%. So again, no, if you're in an area like Hamilton and the average commission is 2%, don't be calculating it at 2.5%. So know the average sale price, know the average commission, so that you know what you're going to net. So if you're on a 50-50 split, if you're assuming that these leads are going to come from Zolo, then you know that your net commission is going to be 10,000. But if you are generating leads outside of the Zolo system, then that's going to be a personal lead. So calculate it on the 80% kind of expectation. But if you do have a Zolo lead, of course, you would get 100% of your personal lead. So just calculating that so that it is not only achievable, but easy to surpass. So your net commission, calculating that based on the splits as well. So keeping that in mind so you can reach your goals. Don't forget about rentals. So I know I've talked exclusively here about buying and selling, but rentals do add up. Again, I'm using really simple math here, but if the average rental price in Toronto is 2,000, which we know it's not, it's higher than that, then the average commission is 1,000. So your net commission would be 650. If you do a number of those, how many of those do you need to do to supplement the buyers that you have coming in, right? So don't discount rentals, they do add up. And this is, again, lower than the average price. I would say that that's, on the low end. So what's it going to take? What do you need to do in order to achieve those goals? So yes, what percentage is going to be buyers? What percentage are going to be listings? What percentage will be leases? So definitely know what that's going to entail. And hopefully here, you'll be able to determine that. So if your goal is to earn 100,000, again, just using that really simple math, calculate what it's going to take in terms of how many Zolo leads, how many personal leads, and how many rentals. So again, just really easy math there. Look at those numbers add up. So if you do 6 Zolo deals, so if you have 6 buyer transactions that are Zolo leads, that should result, using the math that we previously used, that should result in 60,000. If you do 2 personal deals in the entire year, think about how achievable that should be. That's an additional 32,000, right? And then if you're doing those rentals, if you're supplementing this income with 1 to 2 rentals a month, that should add up to $10,000. So altogether, you're reaching your goal, you're reaching your income goal. So don't discount rentals and really think about all of the different sources of leads that are coming in, take into account those splits and really crunch those numbers. So I hope that it feels achievable to you to think, 6 deals a year from Zolo, 2 deals a year, from your personal network, and 1 to 2 rentals a month. I feel like that's, a super achievable goal to reach that $100,000 income goal if that's what you've set for yourself for 2021. All right, so yes, what's it going to take? How many appointments do you need to make? So again, this goes back to the very beginning. When you've looked back on your year and you've realized, okay, I went on 125 showings with buyers, and out of those 125, I closed 5 deals. Know your numbers, right? So that if you average 1 offer made every 8 showings, then you know how many appointments you need to go on, right? So again, really, really knowing your numbers. In this case, you would need 24 showings to cancel 1 buyer side transaction. This also, I have to say, motivates you to go on those showings, right? Because it's a numbers game. You just need to get to 20, 25 showings before you're going to get a deal. And your numbers might be tighter than that. So just know what it is. And again, that's going to motivate you to go out and do the showings, because if it takes you a really long time to do 20 to 25 showings, it's going to take you a really long time to get that 1 offer or to get that 1 offer accepted. So keep at it, keep hustling, go out on those showings, make those appointments, and we'll talk about, maybe targets to set for yourself on a daily, weekly basis in terms of calls and showing appointments. So this is the Excel spreadsheet that I was talking about. This is something that was created by Zolo quite some time ago. It is available to you if you log into your Zolo email. It's the Gmail platform that we use. So you would be able to look up forms. And yeah, I think it's sheets, sorry. So when you go in there, you should have a copy of this. And if not, I will post the link to it when this video is uploaded to the workplace group, because all you have to do, this is already all set for you. And you can see I've already punched in $100,000 over here, that's the number you want to make for that particular year. And then let's just assume that the average net commission in your area is 7,000, right? So from there, it's going to calculate how many deals you need to do in order to achieve your income goal of 100,000. So here it calculates it for you. You need to do 14 deals, which means you need to be writing 23 offers. So these are numbers that, Zolo has inputted already based on averages. So again, yours might be tighter, yours might be better. But generally speaking, you would need to write 23 offers in order to get 14 accepted, which means what? How many showings do you need to go on? So it's funny, I was using the example of 125 showings. Yeah, you would need 119 showings to generate that many offers. So how many clients do you need to meet, and how many conversations do you need to meet? How many conversations do you need to have? So you need to meet 136 new clients. Now, thinking about your Zolo CRM, We're so lucky here that we get leads sent to us every single day. I'm sure that if you look at your engaged folder, you have probably around this number. So super achievable to speak to those, to that number of people, and then definitely making sure that you are converting them to showings, right? So number of leads you need to speak with is 821, which sounds like a big number, but let's break it down. So your monthly objectives to obtain this goal means that you need to speak to 68 people, which on a weekly basis means you need to speak to 16 people every week. And so again, we're getting those leads into our CRM. You're following up, hopefully, with those old leads that you spoke to before. You have personal leads that you're working with as well. Super achievable to think about 16 conversations a week as opposed to 821 over the entire year. So this breaks it down really nice for you, breaks it down into these bite-sized pieces. So I will definitely share this link with you guys if you don't already have access to this. And again, incorporate this. Maybe this is the sheet that you print out and you post next to your computer, and it's something that you look at every single day, right? You schedule your day so that you know you're never going to miss making those calls and converting those calls to showings, right? Having a weekly objective to show 2 new clients, I think, again, is really achievable. So know your numbers and use this Excel spreadsheet to figure out what those numbers need to be. All right, why do you want it? So this is a great question, and this is different for all of us. But definitely, have that goal in mind. So yes, there's an income goal. We want to make 100,000, 200,000, whatever it is, but why? For what reason? What are you going to do with it? For me, it's, I want to take my kids on vacation, right? But I went a little bit further than that, and I promised my kids a vacation at the beginning of the year because that held me accountable. So think of something that, is going to motivate you to do it, and maybe make that promise, maybe make that commitment. Maybe it's not a vacation. Maybe it's, I'm going to pay off my student loan at the end of this year. Whatever it is, say it to somebody so that they know what you're working towards, and they're going to ask you in 6 months, 8 months, hey, where are you with that goal? Were you able to achieve that? Why do you want it? So, beyond just setting an income goal for yourself, what is it that you're going to do with that? So, and make a promise to somebody else if you need that accountability. So just a couple of examples there. All right, so let's talk about planning this. In other words, putting this on paper. So a one-page business plan is something that I really like to have, again, posted next to your computer so that you're looking at it every day. And again, you can take these numbers from that Excel spreadsheet. So what's your take-home income that you're wanting to achieve on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis? So put that in there. And then, of course, you can, again, copy over the information that you entered into that Excel spreadsheet. So what's the gross commission income that's average in your area? What's the sales volume that you're trying to achieve? And then how many buyers do you need to close, and how many sellers do you need to close, right? Breaking that down into listing appointments that you need to go on, buyers that you need to engage or have under contract. And then you don't really see it down here, but what are your buyer activities going to be, and what are your seller activities going to be? So yes, you're logging into your Zolo CRM every single day, every morning. You are contacting your hot leads. You're following up with the people that you see under your scheduled activities. What else are you going to do, right? What other follow-ups are you going to incorporate? What are you going to do in order to attract sellers? Are you going to maybe put that Facebook ad out there, targeting sellers specifically? What is it that you're going to do? Have that right in front of you. Every single day you'll see it. And yeah, even have a daily schedule that you follow so that you don't forget to do any of these tasks. So 5 disciplines to reset your business. This is something that I wanted to incorporate here. So let's jump in. 5 disciplines that will help you reset your business for 2021. All right, so the good news is the first one you're already doing. So investing some time every day in education. So furthering your skills, we've had, Treb join us this month. They've offered some really great webinars. Hopefully you guys were able to attend. If not, go to the Treb website. They have professional development there. We offer webinars here at Zolo, so log in as often as you can. We have, different speakers that join us on Thursdays typically. So, just further your education, knowing, different tools. Maybe you have a CRM that you bought last year that you've never used. Take 30 minutes a day to figure out how to use that, right? How to maximize it, how to send those drip campaigns. So definitely investing in yourself, taking time to further your education so that you are, you know all the things you need to know going forward. Studying market stats. So I'm saying this separate from educating yourself. So yeah, studying what's happening in your market is very easy. Again, being with Zolo, we have that information right on the website. So all you need to do is go to zolo.ca. You can type the area that you're in. And what's really cool is that right here, it's going to give you some stats right away. So take a look at this. You're probably on the Zolo site every day. So take a look at what this means. So how many homes are for sale right now in Oakville? Oakville just happens to be where I am. So I took a screenshot of my Zolo website. So it looks like 529 homes are currently for sale. The average list price is just over 2 million, but take a look, click on market stats, and that will give you a little bit, more targeted information. So actually the average sold price is 1.3. That's gone down a little bit since last month. It's gone down a little bit since the last quarter, but year over year, it's actually gone up 25%. So these are the things that you need to know. And, log into your TREB system, take a look at properties that have sold down the street from you, so that these aren't just numbers that you're memorizing, but if somebody asks you, what do you think of the market? You can talk about, well, there was this house that just sold, it was listed for such and such a price, they had 13 offers, it sold for X amount of money. Like, tell those stories, know about specific properties instead of just memorizing these numbers. So having stories that you can tell, educating yourself on the market every day, and finding out what's actually moving, right? So taking a look at your TREB system as well. But knowing that this exists, Oakville real estate trends, whatever area you're in, you can find that on the Zolo website as well. All right, so I talked about this, scheduling your day, super, super important because you don't want anything to fall through the cracks. I know it's a simple thing, schedule your day so that again, when you go back and you look at, okay, how many calls am I supposed to be making? How many appointments am I supposed to be setting? You don't have to remind yourself of that every day. You have a system that always works for yourself. So maybe first thing in the morning, I know for me, I'm not a morning person. I like to pour myself a really strong cup of coffee and I jump on social media. Sometimes I'm just looking at social media, but what I'm trying to do, what my goal is to schedule some social media posts for that week, right? So you're keeping your Facebook business page active, you're sharing maybe, some articles that you find, you're sharing some interesting information on your social media. You might want to reach out to listings that allow you to advertise their listings. So I'll show you how to do that in a second, but you can log into TREB, you can find listings that listing agents are allowing other agents to promote. So there's a way to find them in TREB, and you can send them an email, ask if it's okay for you to advertise their listing, and then go ahead and post it on Kijiji and Marketplace. For me personally, this is what I like to do in the morning because it's pretty, it's pretty kind of simple, and I'm not calling anybody at 9 a.m. I'm still on my first cup of coffee. And so I'm just kind of sending out emails and posting stuff on social media. But then I get serious, 10 a.m., we hit the ground running, 11 a.m., take the time to attend these webinars, other webinars, whatever you find out there. There's so much out on YouTube that you can take a look at, free scripts, that sort of thing. Take some time to, really further your education. Taking some time, of course, for yourself, that's so important. In the world of real estate, we can get swept up with requests. So make sure that you are setting time for yourself, and then scheduling some time, of course, to follow up with your calls and your emails. So definitely jumping into your Zolo CRM, calling those hot leads back, following up, really having that CRM that's going to remind you this is who you need to talk to today. And hopefully, again, setting a standard for yourself. How long are you going to spend on the phone? Here, I've got 3 hours blocked off. But, those are calls, those are follow-ups, those are emails. You can check in with, new clients, past clients, deals that are about to close. So whatever it is, you have time here to be reaching out, to be doing your lead gen. And again, having some standards for yourself in terms of how long you're going to be on that phone call or generating calls, making calls. And then maybe, setting for yourself some rules that, I'm not going to be done with my calls until I've at least scheduled one appointment, maybe 2 appointments. And I'll talk about that in the next slide. But then also scheduling, of course, time for yourself to take people out on appointments, to take them out on showings. Again, when we're new to real estate, oftentimes we can, we end up being realtors on demand. Somebody calls us at 11 a.m. Hey, can you show us this property right now at 11? And you say, sure, it's available, I'll book it online, I'll see you there in half an hour. But what's gonna happen is all of your other activities for that day are gonna fall through the cracks. Sorry, Mandeep, do you have a question? Sorry, I thought somebody was chiming in there. So yeah, scheduling some time or setting time aside for those appointments so that if somebody does call you at 11 saying we want to see it right now at 11, just suggest to them, does 4 o'clock work for you? Does 5 o'clock work for you? And if it does, great, schedule the appointment then. Of course, there will be exceptions. If somebody calls and they want to see a property and this is their only time that's they're available, sure, you can make exceptions, but generally speaking, try to schedule them during your preferred time slot so that you're not forgetting to do all of the other things that you need to do in your business. So yeah, scheduling your appointments, your showings, during a specific time slot, definitely on the weekends, maybe scheduling, a few hours on Saturday, maybe taking Sunday off for yourself, maybe just on Sunday, reviewing your plan for what you need to do the following week. So just staying really organized and staying on top of your daily schedule will ensure that, all of your business activities are on track. All right, so making your calls is another discipline definitely that you want to implement. And this is what I was talking about. Maybe you set for yourself a specific time, length of time that you're going to make those calls. So maybe think of it as 3-2-1, 3 hours of phone calls. And you're not going to quit until you've booked 2 new meetings and you're going to go on 1 meeting that day, right? A previously scheduled meeting. So if you were to do this consistently in your business every day, imagine the results. If you sat down every day and made all of your calls and didn't stop until you booked 2 appointments, so maybe one for tomorrow, maybe one for Friday, or maybe the weekend, whatever it is, and then you had a scheduled appointment to go to later that day, imagine the amount of business that you would do, right? It's a numbers game. Real estate is 100% a numbers game. The more people you talk to, the more showings you go out on, the more offers you're going to be writing, and the more offers you're going to get accepted. So really, really, really having some time scheduled in your day where you're making those calls, you're booking those appointments, and then having a separate time that you're actually going out on those appointments. So again, not letting a client or a lead, run over you with their request that they want to see a property right now and then tomorrow at a different time and the next day at a different time, really trying to schedule them during your preferred time so that you are staying on top of all the other business activities that you need to stay on top of. All right, think about this, follow-up zero. So I don't know about you, but I think we've all heard of inbox zero, which is impossible. I don't know how people do that, but there is this concept, which I thought was really cool. Follow-up zero. So if you have scheduled activities for you to follow up with clients, you should be getting through that list every single day. And you should have a follow-up list, right? Otherwise, people are going to fall through the cracks. There's no way that you're going to remember to call, this lead or that lead, reminding them that, that property they inquired about, what, the conditions expired today, they fell through, the property's available, do you want to go see it? You're not going to remember that off the top of your head. You need to have follow-ups scheduled. And then of course you need to actually do the follow-ups. So think about that, have that list. Again, use the Zolo CRM, the scheduled activities. You'll see all of your scheduled follow-ups there if that's the system you're using. So really make sure that you get through that list every day. And the thing, if you're using the Zolo CRM, is that it's only going to show you the follow-ups for today. So if you don't check it today, you don't check it tomorrow, but you check it, Monday, it's also not going to show you the previous follow-ups that you missed. So you're going to miss those and you don't know what opportunities you've missed there as well. So making sure that you follow up, you set the follow-up and you actually do the follow-up. So follow-up zero, making sure that you get through that list. All right, so I had some systems in here that I wanted to recommend. We have, we're sort of probably going to run out of time. So let me just get through as many of these as I can. Because definitely you want to have a CRM, the Zolo system is there, the Excel spreadsheet is something I talked about at the beginning, but maybe up your game this year and invest in Exact Contact over here. That is something that I've recommended before just because it is kind of cheap and cheerful. It's around $30-ish, and it is a CRM, so it does keep track of your database, and it also includes a monthly newsletter. They'll actually create it for you with content and the whole thing. All you need to do is just change your your name, your contact information, and your photo. So, you know, if you're thinking about reaching out to your database on a monthly basis, which I think you should, then Exact Contact does most of the work already for you. So investing in a CRM, that's a good system, you know, that will help you stay on your goals. This is the Excel spreadsheet that I already spoke about. So this is sort of the, again, the free version. If you're not ready to invest in a CRM, then keep track of everybody that it is that you're talking to. So this is for two reasons. Of course, you want to keep track of everybody that you've spoken to, but also, you know, imagine the situation where you're on the workplace group, somebody posts a property in Milton for 800,000, and you have a buyer here that was looking for a property in Milton for 833. So reach out to that client, let them know, I'm aware of this listing that's coming up. It's not on MLS yet, but I can show it to you before it hits the market. Are you interested? They're going to feel like they're top of mind in your business. And, you know, hopefully that will also create loyalty between you and them. But imagine how powerful that is, right? You can get some deals done this way as long as you're organized. So having some sort of a system that keeps you organized, whether it's the Excel spreadsheet or something, you know, if you're ready to invest in something a little bit more sophisticated, such as Exact Contact, it's not a lot of money and it will, I'm sure, pay for itself. All right, so yeah, the Excel spreadsheet, this is something that you can download in Gmail. It's called Streak. So it basically, all of those leads that you have coming in, all those notifications that you have coming in to your Zolo email address, you should be able to sort them this way if you download this Streak. I did do it at one point. I'm not super familiar with it, but again, it's an Excel spreadsheet, a glorified Excel spreadsheet, if you will, something that's done sort of automatically for you. So just, you know, look into Streak. And again, that's a free suggestion. Email marketing. So I just talked about the email newsletter. Again, if you're using Exact Contact, they create that for you. But if you want to create it yourself, there are companies out there, of course, that will charge you for that. But if you wanted to create something where you're keeping track of all of your clients, you know, you're copying and pasting those email addresses and you're creating your own email newsletter, you can use MailChimp or iContact. But again, these alone cost $30. So again, I'm going to go back to my original suggestion and use Exact Contact instead. Social media management. So yes, there's a lot of companies that will also help you post or schedule posts for your Facebook page. But again, in Facebook, I think if you go and you actually type in a post, you'll see something just underneath the post button that says publishing tools. So again, you can schedule posts in Facebook for free. So again, if you're sitting in front of your computer on a Monday or Tuesday morning with your cup of coffee and you're inspired and you have 5 social media post ideas, create them all and schedule for them for the rest of the week. And it's, again, free. It keeps you active, shows that you're active on social media while you're really out, you know, doing deals. So schedule those posts. There's lots of, you know, different ideas that you can find on the internet. Again, you can pay for ideas. I used a company called Agent Crate, which was $25 a month. I didn't actually use any of their posts, but I did look at what they were suggesting to post because they had lots of good ideas. So follow maybe different realtors, other realtors in other areas that you kind of like and take inspiration from them as well. But, you know, you can post, of course, you know, just sold properties or just listed properties, but we don't always have properties that we've sold or just listed. So, you know, it's nice to kind of throw in a couple of, you know, informative posts. Maybe, you know, maybe you have a term Tuesday. Every Tuesday you post the definition of a real estate term. You know, you can get creative. You might have, you know, a Friday funny, whatever it is, just something that kind of keeps you active on social media. And if you have those days in mind, it also, you know, helps you with content. You might want to do giveaways. This is a great way to get involved in your community and a great way to build your page. If you want to, post a contest on your Facebook page saying, you know, like this post, share this post, tag your friends, you know, the person who, you know, does this the most or whatever the rule is going to be, or maybe everybody gets entered into a draw, you give them something. And maybe you align yourself with a local company, right? This is a pillow that was actually made by a local mom in Oakville. So I posted it, she posted it, you know, and it promoted both of our pages and it was kind of a fun giveaway to do. So get creative. Again, these are free ideas. They take time, but again, they're free. So that's always a good thing. Lead generation. So yes, there is a way that you can dig into your Zolo CRM so that you're not just relying on those hot leads. There is the reverse search where you can find buyers. So let's just say that there is a house down the street that just got listed. It's a beautiful home. You'd love to sell it. You can go into your tools drop-down menu and select reverse search. Simply copy and paste that MLS number, and it's going to give you a list of everybody who has looked at that property on Zolo. So a super powerful list. You can reach out to them. It's a bit of a different call than when you're calling back hot leads, because these people aren't requesting information about a property. They simply looked at a property on Zolo, and now you're calling them. You may not want to let them know that you know that they looked at that property, but you might want to call them with a customer service call. Just ask them what they're looking for, how you might be able to help, and hopefully you generate some buyers that way. So again, it's all about getting more business for 2021. So I think I'm going to end it with this, because I did talk about borrowed listings at the beginning. This is another great way to generate buyers, and it's free. So when you are searching for a borrowed listing in TREB, this is your search criteria. Down at the bottom, you'll see that I've added permission to contact listing agent to advertise. So in other words, you're going to find listings in whatever area you've selected that the listing agent has allowed you to contact them and ask them permission if you can advertise their listing on Kijiji, on Facebook Marketplace, whatever it is going to be. So you add this search criteria, permission to contact listing agent, you click on yes, and that will give you a list of all of those properties in that area that you're allowed to potentially advertise. You still do need to send an email to the listing agent, just asking, making sure that you can actually go ahead and promote that listing. And once you do receive an email back saying, yes, no problem, you can go ahead and post that on Kijiji, and hopefully you generate some buyer leads that way. Let me see if I have a sample of that email. Yeah, so this is an email that you might want to send to that listing agent. So permission to advertise 123 Main Street. And so here's just some text that you might want to borrow. But yeah, you're saying hello to the listing agent. Congratulations on your listing. I'd love to help you sell it. Please note, I will not make any misrepresentations. I'll do my best to find you a buyer. If you're okay with me advertising your listing, please let me know. Right, so words to that effect, and then you do have to wait for their reply just saying, yes, you're allowed, so that you have that in writing and you can go ahead and post that on Kijiji. So just other ways to generate business. We're thinking ahead, we're thinking 2021. So hopefully this will bring in more buyers, more transactions, more money, so you can reach your goal and you can achieve your why. All right. Okay, so I think I will leave you with that. But yeah, if you wanted to see that again, this is the TREB search. I know if you're looking at this on a phone, it's probably quite small, but basically what you're doing is you're doing a search for properties in your preferred area, and you're asking the system to only show you listings that you're potentially allowed to advertise. So hopefully, yeah, there you go. That's Stratus. Awesome. Susanna, good morning. How are you? If you guys want to chat with me, yeah, just raise your hand.
Jane. Good. Yourself?
How are you?
Good. Jane, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
Jane, can I ask you, can you remind the website where you can create your logo from your name and last name? I missed beginning of the meeting. I'm not sure if you said something about that.
No, we didn't talk about logos, but yeah, if you're wanting to do a logo, I'm not sure which one you're thinking, but you can go onto a website called Fiverr and they create logos for you, or you can create it yourself on Canva. If you're artsy like that, you can try Canva. They have some logo ideas and you can just change it up and personalize it.
Okay, Fiverr you said, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Well, like I said, I think we're almost out of time here, but if you guys have questions or any comments or any suggestions about what's worked for you, what hasn't, other, sources of leads, definitely, let me know, let the group know. And let me just see if there was anything else I really wanted to point out. But if not, let me just pull up this slide. Let me know if you guys have questions. Hopefully you found this informative. This was not the 2020 mid-year review. It's the 2021 business planning. So I wish you guys all kinds of success in the new year. Reach out to your growth manager. If you want to set up those accountability sessions, reach out to a partner here at Zolo that might want to be, your accountability buddy. So really have somebody that you can sort of have to answer to. Anybody have questions? I thought I heard somebody's mic on. All right. Okay. Well, if not, again, great success in 2021. And I'm here for you guys if you have questions. Otherwise, we'll see you on the next webinar. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day. Bye.